Karen didn't plan on becoming the most hated tourist in Washington, D.C., but chaos has a way of choosing the unprepared. The moment it happened, it was fast. A sharp command, a collective gasp, and Karen's hand, acting faster than her brain, snatched the rifle straight from the tomb guard's grip. For half a second, she stood there triumphant, almost like she expected applause for fixing whatever she thought was wrong. Then, the rifle suddenly felt heavier, colder, as if every rule she'd ever ignored had condensed into a single, very bad decision. The tomb guard didn't shout, didn't stumble, didn't even glare. He simply straightened his back, looked her in the eye with a stillness that could freeze summer, and said words Karen would never forget. "Ma'am, remove your hand." But it was too late. Everything that followed began with that one terrible impulse. The morning had started normally, tourists milling around, the steady rhythm of the guard's steps, and Karen loudly complaining to her husband, Doug. "This is ridiculous," she'd snapped. "They're soldiers, not statues. And why won't he answer my question? I'm a taxpayer." Doug had tried, weakly, to quiet her. "Karen, can we not do this today?" But Karen was already marching forward, fueled by a cocktail of curiosity and entitlement. She stepped over the rope barrier. A ripple of shock moved through the crowd. "Ma'am, stay behind the line," the tomb guard commanded, voice firm but steady. Karen scoffed. "I just want to get a closer look. And maybe if you people weren't so dramatic." Then she grabbed for the rifle. It wasn't aggression, just arrogance. Let me see that gesture. But at the tomb of the unknown soldier, intent doesn't matter. The moment she touched the weapon, time slowed. The guard's training kicked in. Karen's mind finally caught up. And the crowd? They held their breath like witnesses to an incoming storm. The rifle never fully left his hands, but protocol was already broken the second Karen's fingers brushed the weapon. With mechanical precision, the tomb guard stepped back, angled his body, and signaled to his relief commander with a sharp movement that civilians rarely see. Gasps erupted. Phones came out. Karen felt the color drain from her face. 2 more guards appeared within seconds. Silent, controlled, purposeful. Doug whispered, horrified, "Karen, what did you do?" Karen stuttered. I, I just wanted to." "Ma'am," the commander said, "the tomb is a place of honor. Interfering with a guard's weapon is a federal offense. Please step to the side." The words hit harder than any shout. Karen tried to speak again, but her throat tightened. She felt like the world was closing in on her, with every pair of eyes judging her, every camera recording her shame. And in the middle of it, the original guard resumed his post, unshaken, unbothered, untouchable. He marched as if nothing had happened. That hurt her pride more than any scolding ever could. Karen was escorted to a shaded area away from the crowd. She expected jail, fines, public humiliation on a global scale. Mostly, she expected shouting, someone to match her energy, someone she could argue back against. But everything was calm, professional, controlled. And that made it worse. The commander explained what could have happened. "Ma'am, the guard could have used force. You're lucky he showed restraint. Their duty is to protect the tomb without fail." Karen's voice trembled. I didn't mean to disrespect." That's the problem. Respect isn't about intention. It's about boundaries. She sat there silently for once, realizing her words couldn't fix anything. After what felt like an eternity, she was informed she wasn't under arrest. But she would receive a trespass citation, and she was officially banned from the memorial for a year. Doug exhaled the longest breath of his life. Karen whispered, "I didn't think." "I know," Doug said softly, "but maybe it's time you start." When Karen and Doug were finally released back to the public area, the crowd parted like a scene from a movie. Some stared, some whispered, some shook their heads. Karen didn't argue, didn't lift her chin. She just walked. Every step carried the weight of embarrassment, regret, and the sudden realization that the world did not revolve around her opinions or her curiosity. But as they reached the parking lot, Doug glanced back toward the tomb. The guard was still marching, each step perfectly measured, honoring soldiers whose names would never be known. Karen followed his gaze. For a moment, she felt something she rarely felt: humility. She said quietly, "I didn't deserve his restraint." "No one deserves it. That's discipline, training, and respect." They drove away in silence, but Karen kept replaying one image in her mind. A soldier who never broke posture, never lost control, never wavered in his sacred duty. And she knew she had learned a lesson she'd never forget. Some places don't revolve around you. They're bigger, older, and more honorable than any one person's ego.